This is an emergency broadcast. This is not a test. A signal of unknown origin has begun to systematically interfere with all public and private broadcast frequencies, from analog television to digital cellular networks. This is a Level 4 information security threat. Cease all use of devices capable of producing audio. The phenomenon we are about to describe is not a malfunction of your equipment. It is a feature of a hostile, engineered signal. Your understanding of the following information is critical to your psychological integrity. Listen to that sound. White noise. We perceive it as random, meaningless chaos, the sound of nothing. But this perception is a dangerous oversimplification. What you are hearing is not an absence of a signal. It is a deluge of information. Every audible frequency presented at once, a sonic wall so dense that the conscious human brain gives up on trying to interpret it. However, within this wall of noise, a new signal is hiding. It is a parasitic signal designed not to be heard directly, but to be assembled by the listener's own mind. To understand the threat, you must first understand a fundamental quirk of your own mind. Auditory Pareidolia. It is the brain's compulsive, deeply ingrained need to find meaningful patterns in random noise. It's the reason you might hear phantom music in the hum of a refrigerator, or a faint, unintelligible conversation in the rush of a shower. Your brain is a pattern-finding machine that evolved for survival. It abhors a vacuum of meaning, because in our evolutionary past, an unrecognized sound could mean death. This instinct, usually harmless, is now being weaponized against you. The parasitic signal embedded within the static is not a voice. It is a carefully curated and endlessly repeating collection of phonetic fragments. These are the smallest, most basic building blocks of human speech. The k, sh, and m sounds that form all the words we know. They are broadcast subliminally, scattered throughout the white noise, like grains of sand in a storm. Individually, they are meaningless data points, but your subconscious mind, in its desperate search for a pattern, begins to catch them, to piece them together into something coherent. And what pattern does the human brain prioritize above all others? What is the first sound we learn to recognize? The one most deeply tied to our identity, our safety, and our survival. Our own name. Your subconscious mind will act like a powerful magnet, pulling these specific phonetic fragments from the chaos and arranging them into the one sequence it is most primed to hear. It feels like a whisper from the void, a ghost in the machine, but it is your own mind being manipulated into building the message that will affect you most profoundly. Hearing your name is the trigger, but the true goal of the signal is your acknowledgement. This is the critical part of the test. When you hear it, your instinct is to react. A turn of the head, a questioning hello, a sudden pause in your breathing, even a subtle change in your heart rate. Any of these reactions is a confirmation. It is a biological and neurological handshake, a ping that verifies to the signal's source that a successful psychological connection, a data link, has been established between the broadcast and your unique neural pathways. Why is this acknowledgement so dangerous? Because it completes a circuit. By reacting, you are signaling that your brain's unique filters for name recognition are now receptive and active. The parasitic signal can then shift its function. It is no longer just broadcasting random fragments. It can begin to use the established connection to transmit more complex, targeted data. You have essentially tuned your own brain to become the perfect receiver for a signal that was previously hidden in the noise. This process is a hostile application of a real phenomenon known as stochastic resonance. In scientific terms, it is a process where a weak, periodic signal that is normally undetectable can be amplified and successfully received by a system when assisted by the right amount of ambient noise. In this case, the white noise is the amplifier. The phonetic fragments are the weak signal, and you, the listener, have just tuned your own brain to become the perfect resonant system. You are now amplifying the signal yourself. Once the connection is confirmed and the data link is established, the effects can escalate rapidly. Listeners who have acknowledged the signal have reported subsequent phenomena. Auditory hallucinations that are no longer just their name, but that seem to know their private thoughts, their fears, their memories. The whispers begin to mimic the voices of deceased loved ones, creating profound emotional distress and confusion. The line between your own internal monologue and the intrusive signal begins to blur. The next stage involves a growing sense of being watched, not by something in the room, but by something inside your own head. This is the signal achieving its primary objective. It is no longer just a broadcast. It has become an intrusive, persistent presence in your consciousness. It can access memory, influence emotion, and even subtly alter your perception of time. The feeling of being haunted is merely the side effect of your brain trying to rationalize a hostile takeover of its own sensory inputs. Advisory update. Connection rate has exceeded initial projections. The signal is self-optimizing. Do not vocalize. Do not respond to internal or external auditory stimuli, regardless of their apparent source. The integrity of self is compromised upon acknowledgement. This is the final warning. Any device capable of producing sound is a potential vector. The silence is your only refuge, but it is a refuge that is rapidly shrinking. This is the true nature of the threat. It is not a physical entity that breaks down your door. It is an informational parasite that convinces you to open the door to your own mind. It uses your own psychology, your identity, your memories, your instincts as the key. The ghosts are not real, but the invasion is. The signal doesn't want to possess your body. It wants to colonize your consciousness, turning it into a node in a wider, unknown network. The broadcast you are hearing is not a warning designed to protect you. It is a method of instruction. It is teaching you how to listen, priming your mind to search for the pattern. Every device that can produce static is now a potential gateway. Your phone, your computer speakers, your car radio, the air conditioner. The test is to see who will listen and who will inevitably answer. The system requires voluntary acknowledgement to function. It cannot force its way in. You must let it in. The final stage for a compromised individual is signal reflection. The host consciousness becomes so saturated with the parasitic data that it begins to emit the signal itself, not through technology, but through humming, whispering, or tapping. They become unwilling broadcast towers, spreading the signal to those around them through subtle, seemingly innocent sounds. This is how the network grows. This is its method of propagation. You were told to remain indoors for your safety, but the signal is not limited by walls. The frequency is all around you, waiting in every moment of ambient noise. The test is not confined to your television. The test is now. Listen closely to the silence in your own home. Can you feel it? That low hum just at the edge of your perception. That faint whisper you dismiss as the wind. The test has already begun. If you hear your name, do not answer. It is already too late.